everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of BIS on radio. This is brought to you by the Bangalore International School, established in 1969. 53 years old and still going strong, just like our mascot, the bison.
We are a caring, connected community, inclusive of all learning profiles, welcoming of multiple perspectives, engaged in a continuous conversation among all learning partners about how to sustain and improve the quality of learning and life at BIS.
So this podcast is a student-led initiative that was made to make science more interesting by connecting groundbreaking scientists and their research to the students in hopes of encouraging them to follow the same path in the future.
We are your hosts for today. I'm Anshul.
And I am Shivani.
We are currently in grade 11.
But before we get into the good stuff, I would like to introduce our co-hosts Abhishek Rajan and Sarah Mukundan. They will be talking about science and its importance.
So why a science podcast? Let's start with that.
Because we use science to solve so many issues. It could be as simple as going to the doctor for a cold, as complex as global warming, or even our current situation, COVID-19.
Every day, scientists dedicate their time, effort, and resources to provide a better life for us. It's not easy being a scientist.
Exactly. So to understand how scientists do what they do and what it takes to be one,
It's an absolute privilege and honor for me to welcome our guest, Mr. Shubhankar Ghosh.
Mr. Ghosh's professional experience has been in the field of communication engineering and all allied areas for over 18 years. During his professional career, he was a senior scientist at the Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO, the Indian Defense Ministry. Then he became a senior principal engineer at Tektronix Engineering Development, headquartered at Beaverton, Oregon, the USA.
His profession is in the domain of radar system engineering and signal processing to enable high-speed communication over physical channels. His research interest is in the field of statistical signal and data processing, an area in which he pursued his post-graduation from the prestigious Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore under Electrical Sciences Division.
Since his graduation days from West Bengal Technical University in Electrical Communication Engineering, he has been a very hands-on pen and paper style person, relying heavily on data-driven analytical studies and numerical simulations. This approach has worked well for him to achieve multiple patents and intellectual property awards. Now, we would like to invite Mr. Ghosh to tell us a bit more about himself and the work he does.
Hello sir, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. We are excited to have you as the very first guest on BIS on radio.
Thank you so much. It is my pleasure and I'm enjoying every moment of it. I'm sure I'll continue doing so. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So our first question to you is that as a child, what pushed you towards science and research?
Yeah, I'm very glad that you actually associate this heavy term of research along with the younger days of one's education. Actually, generally we have this notion of academics being or research being very academic heavy, and
Yes,
children are supposed to be a little more free. So, but I think for me what had happened is I don't think it was any conscious push from my end. It was very natural movement towards science, because I remember during my childhood days,
Yes, sir.
I was intrigued by. I vividly remember a few things. One of them was I was amazed at almost magical properties of these electrical circuits. Like how do you, like at a distance, how do you turn on a switch and something glows?
Yes, sir.
So that used to amaze me a lot. Likewise, I was very keen on understanding how, not very surprised at the fact that the butterfly wings changes color like when you see them from different angles.
Yes, sir.
So I very clearly remember these two things. Only when I kind of studied a little bit of more physics, I understood that understood all these aspects in slightly more details. But as a child, I think these were I think the inquisitiveness was always there, and my parents were very supportive of me. I remember tearing down some of the electrical equipments in the house just to understand what's inside. Uh, my father never objected to that.
Yes, sir.
Only thing he used to ask me questions after that, I remember, like to check what I have learned while I tore down, I think, important stuffs at that point. That was I think it was a very strong support, I would say, in their own capacity. And I also feel my schooling was very important. Um, uh, two teachers whom I very fondly remember, they were my math and science teachers, or teacher rather, and my English teacher actually. So the thing is, like, my math and science teacher, they never asked direct questions. So the application was very important. I think that set the right context to how to look at things going forward. And this was the scenario till I left my school.
Yes, sir.
So you can't do good science unless you are creative, in my opinion.
Right, sir.
And you must have certain skill sets, or you at least try in your own capacity. Not that one has to be kind of trained and really rigorous in approach, uh, maybe while drawing, but the whole idea of putting the thought on a paper requires
sir.
certain ways of articulating your thought, and that's
Definitely.
creative. So you cannot have that without having trained yourself in those things in unknowing ways. So I think these are very important things which have led to my natural inclination in science and
Research.
where I am today.
Yes,
Science
sir.
and research, yes, right. So yeah, that's it.
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you, sir. Could you please tell us a little bit about your profession and the work you are currently doing?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a communication engineer, and uh, so I generally work in enabling very high speed data communication between chips,
Yes, sir.
and uh, to make sure that we are always pushing the boundaries of the theoretical limits that are imposed because of physical laws when such communication is happening.
Yes, sir.
So my interests and my profession actually is to analyze, experiment, and come up with tests that will kind of help us identifying the areas through which we can kind of increase the performance of such schemes.
Yes, sir.
And so this kind of areas which are involved in my profession, the skill sets that are required in the profession which I am, are like software engineering.
Yes, sir.
You require instrumentation engineering. You have to be very good dealing with instruments
Yes, sir.
to understand their performance limits, because your system has to be more robust and more accurate than what you are trying to measure,
Yes,
because
sir.
you want to pull out that information, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
if your instruments are not better than what you are trying to measure, then you will not get the right results.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So it requires good amount of instrumentation engineering and of course electrical engineering. So this is what I do in my profession.
It's a very interesting profession. So.
Very interesting to hear.
Yeah.
What steps did you take to get to where you are, and what challenges did you experience along the way?
Right. So when I started my career, I started my career as right after my graduation with DRDO,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
and I just came out of my college, and as with everyone else, with every normal child, I guess, I had my youthful and I would say usual abrasiveness in approach,
Yes, sir.
which which was kind of very nicely and humbly rounded off by my superiors at DRDO without me really understanding that it is being done.
Oh, yes, sir.
And naturally, because it is not good for a professional growth,
Yes,
and
sir.
especially in the type of field in which we were working.
Yes, sir.
So that was kind of the start of it. And then I was with all these set of people who were like extremely senior in terms of experience and age,
Yes, sir.
and regard comes naturally.
Definitely, sir.
Yes, sir.
So and also the fact that we were a small cohort of people who were picked up from all over the country.
Yes, sir.
So there were like lot of variation in terms of even the way we used to talk. So it was like that. So you know, you get across, you move through all of that,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
and and then naturally where you land at a place where from where you are able to take off.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And challenges, if I say, the it is to unlearn a few things.
Definitely, sir.
Yes.
It's not easy.
Yes, sir.
It's probably of course we all have 20/20 vision in retrospection, but
Yes, sir.
at that point in time, it's difficult to unlearn in the right way and pick up the right things.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But to be successful in those places, it really required me. I can only talk about myself.
Yes, sir.
It required me to pick up new tools, learn new tools, understand where my gaps are,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
and do a lot of introspection.
Definitely, sir.
So it was a process. Okay, nothing happens in one day, and it was not a 100-meter race.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
It was a marathon. So slowly but consciously and steadily, the development process had to be I had to go through that process.
Yes, sir.
So that is how the challenges were met. In DRDO, there is a saying, at least in the lab
Yes,
where
sir.
I was, that it is a place where it will show your limits.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
okay.
It's a very profound but humbling statement if you really think of it.
Yes, sir.
So that was a very practical place, and practical things are very tough. I'm pretty sure your teachers will, who deal with you all day to day, they will know how difficult it is to practically get certain things done,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
and but still they get it done, right?
Yes, sir.
Look at their abilities to get that done, and such was the case with me also with my seniors. I mean, they kind of groomed me in the right manner. I don't know how much of challenge they faced, but I think the question should be better posed to them, that how much of challenge they faced grooming me.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
But it is like that. So yeah, you also have to do your homework, right?
Yes,
It's
sir.
like
That's
you
right.
cannot you know, you cannot make a drum sound like a guitar, right?
Definitely.
It cannot happen. How much you beat it, so it's not going to happen. Just like that.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, these were the kind of challenges that that were faced. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, I think our grade right now would definitely agree with the unlearning bit. Because in chemistry and all, we are trying to unlearn the topics we learned before
Yeah. Yeah.
so that we can go ahead. So yes, so we
Right.
would resonate with that very much.
Yes. And it's unlearning is not an easy thing to do.
Definitely not,
It
sir.
requires a lot more from the individual herself or himself
Yes, sir.
to be able to do that. See, the thing is, one interesting thing which I've learned,
Yes,
you know,
sir.
in this process itself, I'll tell you, and that was told by my mentor,
Yes, sir.
because he knew what I was doing,
Yes,
Yes,
and
sir.
he is a great guy, all right.
Yes, sir.
So he can talk about stones for 2 hours. He's like that.
Oh my.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So he told me that there are certain stages of learning. So it
Yes,
is
sir.
basically, ignorance at the subconscious level.
Yes, sir.
And then somebody tells you that, okay, you don't know this, and you accept that you don't know that. So it comes to your consciousness.
Yes,
That, okay, you consciously know now that you don't know this.
Yes, sir.
And then you
sir.
start learning about it.
Yes, sir.
So at that point, it is basically your, you know, you are putting in conscious effort in knowing that.
Yes, sir.
So you are developing competence consciously. So it is a zone of conscious competence.
yes, sir.
Yes,
And
sir.
then when it goes into your blood, that is to say you assimilate it.
Yes, sir.
That time when the learning is complete, that is when it is in your subconscious competence. For example, when you walk, you don't think about it, right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
When you cycle, you don't bother about it. Like it's given, right? It's given.
So there's no conscious thought.
There is no conscious effort that you are putting in balancing it anymore.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So it has gone to your subconscious competence level.
Yes, sir.
That's when the learning happens. That learning, you can say that it is complete. Then you can probably move on to something else. But you see the process, right?
Yes, sir.
So the final 1/4 part is where probably you can relax slightly, let your guards down. But you see the remaining 3/4.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Tremendous effort, right?
Definitely, sir.
And that is the challenge that you have to go through.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Especially in a place like DRDO, where there is a lot of fundamental research going on.
Yes, sir.
Small things are extremely difficult to deal with, and basic things. We used to be always scared about basic questions. Some teachers used to ask and come and ask, like, okay, we'll ask basic questions. We would be like scared, like anything.
Yes,
Basic
sir.
questions are very difficult.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
that's what it is.
Okay, so sir, like everything has pros and cons.
Yeah.
So would you say that being a scientist has affected your life personally or your personal life?
Well, I would say it's the way you look at it.
Right, sir.
All right. I haven't thought of this problem of this profession in this manner. In fact, I have a lot of pride of my profession.
Definitely, sir.
I mean, I honestly never thought of it like this affecting me in any adverse way.
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you the reason why.
Right, sir.
When you are amidst such people, right, whom
Yes, sir.
you know that you have submission in front of them, that yes, they know more than you.
Yes, sir.
And anytime you go and stand in front of them, they talk,
Yes, sir.
you are learning something.
Yes,
alright?
Yes, sir.
It helps you becoming better in what you are doing.
Yes, sir.
So I remember looking forward to meeting them every day.
To
All
learn
right.
more.
Yes.
sir.
So I have spent almost 12 years in that establishment, and I don't remember there was ever a dull day. I honestly don't remember.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And to answer your question, like how it would have molded me,
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you. As I said, that when you are performing such basic research or trying to develop systems from grounds up,
Yes, sir.
So there is certain level of certain level of rigor and meticulous approach that you have to take,
Yes, sir.
and they cannot be they cannot be random and unstructured. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Especially when you are dealing with complexity,
Yes, sir.
there has to be an inherent structure in your approach,
Uh-huh.
because it helps you organize the data not only outside but inside your head, because in my opinion when you are doing such things,
Yes, sir.
most of the things are inside your head,
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
okay.
and organization is of immense value, not
Yes, sir.
externally but internally. Internally you have to be organized.
Yes, sir.
That's my view.
Yes, sir.
And when I was in DRDO or when I was working there,
Yes, sir.
even now, wherever I am,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
the point is like, how do you approach certain things,
Yes, sir.
right? For example, now what happens is, of course, it comes with experience that you are able to, whenever you see a problem,
Yes, sir.
you are immediately conscious of what are the ways in which this problem should not be approached.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So the shift has been like this. For example, when I had just joined,
Yes, sir.
any problem we would jump onto it.
Yes, sir.
So it was only a very small but a finite probability that I would be successful.
Yes, sir.
So that time I would probably attempt 50 different things and then identify the one thing which gave me the best result.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So now I have learned and got, I have looked at dead ends many times to have come to this experience or gather this experience, and now probably given a problem statement, I can probably see a few more failures to start with,
Yes, sir.
what I should not do,
Yes,
and
sir.
therefore I won't do those.
Yes, sir.
So I think that is how it has molded me to be able to understand the problem statement slightly better.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And one more thing I would like to add. So whenever you are doing such type of activities,
Yes, sir.
there are always two types of things which are going on in parallel.
Okay.
One is wherein you are doing an independent investigation, or you are independently, it is your independent pursuit
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
in solitude. All right.
Okay.
When it is only you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes,
You are
sir.
deep inside that. And then there is another aspect wherein you have to deal with external members, right? For
Yes, sir.
example, a simple example would be when you are presenting data in front of a team.
Right, sir.
So these are two different things, you see.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Your mental framework, they are different
In both situations.
in
Yes,
both
sir.
the situations. All right.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, sir. Yes.
So how do you deal with that?
Okay.
Got it.
This is a training that I have understood. I mean, this I've gone through.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
This is a learning. Nobody trains you like, okay, today we'll have a class. Now, that is good till a school, in an academic setup, but in a practical setup, this doesn't happen.
Yes,
You have
sir.
to learn it on the job, on the fly.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So sharper you are in comprehending such smaller, subtler aspects,
Yes, sir.
the quicker you'll be able to assimilate.
Yes, sir.
How to deal with people, for that matter. So
Yes,
you
sir.
see, there are like so many different aspects of being in such a place.
Yes, sir.
All right, it's not one single thing. It's a holistic learning. Now, I'm pretty sure you all will resonate with this word, right?
Definitely, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I can tell you one thing: the amount of understanding that you will develop about this holistic feeling
Yes, sir.
once you go out of the school and see the real world and work there,
Yes, sir.
you will find the meaning of it even more. We were not exposed to these wonderful things.
Yes, sir.
In a what would I say, in a framework. We were not exposed to it like that.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Of course, all academics have their approach to a holistic learning.
Yes, sir.
Here it is emphasized more. Nowadays it is emphasized more.
Yes,
which
sir.
I think is very good.
Yes, sir.
It keeps you more rounded, more amenable to interact socially.
Yes, sir.
So I think these are very important things. So these are the things which I had to learn and which I have learned from there. All right. So this is how it would have changed me, I think.
Oh, okay, sir.
So this was all with regard to your question, how it has changed me, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So I think this is how it has changed me.
Okay,
Yes.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, sir. What is it like working with DRDO, and what was your role, and how was it different from the other work you've done?
Yeah, so in DRD I was actually working in the primarily in the field of radars. So I'm presuming you all know what a radar is, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes, and so it's a pretty advanced system. Now, while the application is very advanced,
Yes, sir.
the ingredients or the components were very fundamental. All right.
Okay.
So you always had to fight against fundamental limitations.
Okay.
For example, when this recording is happening, you are hearing the background noise from the AC.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that's a fundamental limitation of the environment in which you are working,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes.
So the entire system actually works against the the fundamental limitations which the system poses,
Yes, sir.
and therefore the work becomes difficult in its own ways.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Because of the simple fact that you have to go back to your basics,
Yes, sir.
and to describe basic things, it requires slightly advanced level of academic instruments, the tools that you would use.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So you had to kind of learn all of that,
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
and so these were like the kind of day-to-day challenges which we used to face every time.
Right, sir.
And I think the difference between what I had done in DRDO and what I'm doing now is at that particular level alone.
Yes, sir.
I think it was more basic and fundamental during my previous stint at DRDO, and what I'm doing now,
Yes,
it's
sir.
it's highly applied.
Yes, sir.
So
Okay,
they have
sir.
two distinct flavors.
Yes, sir.
Both have their challenges,
Yes, sir.
right? So I don't know what I enjoyed more. I actually enjoy both of them equally. I mean, like I wanted to know both of them,
Yes, sir.
and I have come to enjoy both of them. So I think they are different in that ways. It's like you are asking a mother who is a better son between two, or a better daughter between two of them. So I think it's that difficult a question,
Oh,
but
right.
it's more about how much you are able to enjoy that kind of a thing. I will tell you, like you're talking about differences, right?
Yes, sir.
One thing which I remember is I used to go at 8 o'clock
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
to my lab,
Yes, sir.
open my books, start studying, because I wanted to acquire the tools,
Yeah.
and have lunch, then go to the lab, perform experiments,
Yes, sir.
then have snacks, then play. So it's more like, I think you all will, it will feel that, it will appear that I was still in school.
Yes, sir.
So that is how the environment was there. But what happens is, like, as you move in your career, right, you grow up, right?
Yes, sir.
So you are also responsible for certain, why would you alone have all the fun, right? You have to let other youngsters have the fun as well.
course, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
you pass on what you have understood worked best for you
Okay.
in all good intent
Yes, sir.
to the next generation of people.
Yes, sir.
So that is what probably I'm doing right now
Oh,
Okay.
okay, sir.
in my current capacity.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
While at the same time keep on learning new, so that the gathering and distribution are happening simultaneously. You see,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
gathering new things and distributing my experiences, right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So this cycle is continuing, and it's going to continue like this. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to tell you about, like the differences which I see. I honestly see no difference really.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So, sir, like you said, you are passing down advice
Yeah.
and the information you've gathered to your juniors.
Right.
What is the best piece of advice you have received along the way?
Okay. Yes. Yeah, I appreciate that. The thing is, like, one of the most profound advice I had ever heard
Yes, sir.
was, my mentor said that I think he would have also heard from someone. Maybe his mentor told him. At that point, I thought like that.
Yes, sir.
So he told me that, never be a person whose only tool is a hammer, because everything else will look like a nail at that point.
Oh.
So you must be equipped with tools and skill sets so that you have that openness in mind to
Yes,
be
sir.
able to perceive things in its due respect.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
With due diligence, you are able to approach a problem. It's not like your mind is closed because you have learnt only one thing.
Yes, sir.
So it was piercing at that point, but it is such a profound advice. I've never forgotten that. So
Yes,
that
sir.
was, I think, the one advice which, well, I don't give it to anyone, but I try to kind of make it a little more mild and then transfer it. But this is something which I like to, which I generally, which I've practiced consciously after that point.
Yes, sir.
And one of my academic professors,
Yes, sir.
he mentioned and he taught me that whatever I do,
Yes, sir.
I must add value
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
to either that problem statement or to my own self.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So that aim should always be there, and I think that is why I am able to kind of probably I have kind of assimilated it so well that that is why I can probably I have a few IPs to talk about,
Yes,
because
sir.
I always wanted to add value unknowingly, not with the intent of probably getting an IP out of it, but the very fact that I wanted to add value, that urge, that that honest urge, I would say,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
to add value based upon my my philosophical training, so to
Yes,
say.
sir.
So that is what it is. These are the advice which
You've
which
received.
I'd like to pass on. Yeah.
So, sir, what do you think is the future of communication technology?
So the communication engineering, or for that matter the technology, as you said, right, it's kind of evolving, all right,
Yes, sir.
and the way it is interacting with our lives, it's only going to increase, and the bounds are going to go away. So you will start. So already mobile phones, if you see, they are an integral part of our lives, right?
Oh,
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
I mean, I think children are born probably with that knowledge of how to use a mobile phone
Yes, sir.
nowadays.
right.
I mean, it appears to me like that. I mean, like from my experience of how my daughter uses mobile phone. So it is not surprising, as the generation increases, their demands for features or how they would like their lives to be influenced in a
Okay.
better way
Uh-huh.
are all what drives this entire industry.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And because you all are expected to be much more smarter and much more aware of things than the previous generations, so so children like you all are really taking things forward.
Yes,
So
sir.
I would say that the future of communication
Yes, sir.
Yes.
is it's an evolutionary phenomena. It will come in different ways to you.
Yes,
For
sir.
example, already we are in 4G mobile communication, right? So
Yes,
now
sir.
already uh, people have already moved over to investigating 6G
Yes, sir.
and how they will enable uh, a better man-machine interface,
Yes, sir.
or for that matter, how communication can help machine-to-machine interface.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
How can, in fact, it will enable long distance. It's already there, of course, but it will make it even better. Like for example, long distance surgeries
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
to reach, to provide healthcare to remote places in this country.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I mean, like the applications are endless.
Yes, sir.
It's only limited by, again, you see how profound that statement was, that it will show your limits. So it's limited by what we can imagine where it is going to take us.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is kind of the future, you see.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, okay, sir.
So you can only, you can only see the trend of where it is going. From you can predict by looking at the trend in the past, you see,
Yes,
how
sir.
it has evolved from the past.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
What is it that, I don't think you were, when I had my first mobile phone, even to keep it turned on, it would charge us. I think SMS would be like some 5 rupees or something like that. It would be that costly.
Oh, okay, sir.
So who cares about all these things now? You see how things have changed.
Yes, sir.
Even
Yes.
the technology used has changed.
Yes, sir.
And it is going to change like that. So
It is.
the past trend tells you how the future is going to be, at least the near future. Like too much of prediction cannot be correct in any ways. But anyway, this is the kind of things which you should look at and be excited about. You all are entering into a very exciting time,
Yes, sir.
and
Yes, sir.
you have to have all the tools. Don't be a person with a hammer alone, right?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
So, sir, normally research when someone is doing research, they have to consider ethics and all of that. So, sir, what are some ethical problems a scientist or researcher has to face in pursuit when they are in pursuit of new knowledge?
So it's a, first of all, I would like to tell that this topic is ethics and social responsibilities.
Yes, sir.
In probably in such paradigms, there are no courseworks in many of the at various degree levels in
Yes, sir.
institutions. Now, the thing is, like, when you talk about responsibilities,
Yes, sir.
it is slightly it's difficult to kind of define, in my opinion, what ethical means in the context of all the variables that are in place.
Yes, sir.
I personally think, I mean, like, I'm not knowledgeable enough in this area, but I can at least comprehend the fact that there are too many variables to give to enable a unanimous decision on the definition of what's ethical
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
in this ever changing context.
Yes, sir.
You see, this we don't live in isolation, right?
Definitely not.
I mean, like, it's not some paradise, right?
Yes,
No.
sir.
I mean, like, in a sense, like, what I'm trying to say is that where everything is utopian, it's not like that, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we live in certain context of our surroundings,
Yes, sir.
and the definition of ethics is bounded by those contexts, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So in my opinion, it's very difficult to tell where that line is, but there is always a certain level of responsibility which everybody in this field of work self-imposes. It's like a self-restraint or a responsibility which you take upon yourself to be to have professional ethics.
Yes, sir.
So that is where I would kind of tell that these definitions are, in my opinion, debatable, and these are good, healthy debates which happen.
Yes, sir.
See, unless there is a conversation, you will not be able to go anywhere.
Yes, sir.
So ethics in science and all, they are highly discussed topics.
Yes, sir.
And I think that is probably the right way, because the more you discuss, more you will understand about the variables that are at play.
Yes, sir.
More perspectives you will generate.
Okay, yes, sir.
Yes.
And hence more all-inclusive that definition will start becoming.
Okay, yes, sir.
So I think this is the right way to move forward. That
Yes,
is
sir.
all what I want to say regarding this.
Oh, okay.
So, sir, just to add to that question, like you said, ethics is a never-changing topic
Yeah.
that is constantly debated about. So, sir, are there ethical committees that kind of decide what has to continue as an ethical practice?
I'm pretty sure there are.
Yes, sir.
I'm pretty sure there are. Some of them are approved. Some of them are, they take upon that responsibility themselves.
Yes, sir.
But there are certain. So let me give you an example, okay?
Okay, sir.
So when you use mobile phones, right?
Yeah.
You would see towers all around.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now they actually, to get into a little bit more technical thing, so they emanate
Radiation.
electromagnetic waves, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if you know about, so people had very long-standing viewpoint that, well, microwave is also electromagnetic.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
It works in a slightly different band of frequencies, but it cooks food. So what prevents that from cooking us? So it's not true, right? Like it's not going to. I know of people who have. I mean, like I'm forgetting the name of the gentleman. Actually, I had the opportunity to actually talk with him,
Yes, sir.
rather hear him talk in one of the conferences. He was, I think, I forgot the name of the gentleman. He actually made the. He has the. He made the first mobile phone,
Oh, okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
and he was talking about the same thing,
Yes, sir.
that he has worked for such a long time with mobile telephony, and why he never understood why there is so much of concern about working in this area.
Yes, sir.
Now there are a lot of people who have invested time and resources in understanding what these impacts are to the human body.
Yes,
And
sir.
they have come up with measurements called specific absorption rates.
Yes,
I
sir.
don't know now they give any manual with phones or not, but I think it will be available in the internet or someplace. You would be able to understand that they have done modeling to understand when you hold the phone like in certain manner, how much of heat is generated, how it is absorbed in your body, and they have come up with bounds, all in good spirit, you see.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So if you are, so to your question, like are there ethical bodies who do that?
Yes, sir.
I don't know about ethical bodies, but I know of regulatory bodies who does that. So you see, they are also regulating certain things.
Yes,
So they are
sir.
mandating the service providers to be ethical in certain sense. You see,
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
you don't have to, you don't have to proclaim that okay, it's an ethical body. There are
Yes, sir.
ways of doing this also.
Yes,
You see,
sir.
this is one such way, right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
There are government regulations in kind of what prevents them from using only one mobile tower in front of the school, and it will make sure that everyone has equal connectivity.
Yes, sir.
But
Yes, sir.
there's a government regulation that you cannot pump power beyond a point.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
So see, that's again a regulation, right?
Yes, sir.
So such things are there in place,
Yes, sir.
and it is going to be there. So whenever such aspects of what would I say, such technologies evolve, wherein there is an interface, a direct interface with us, for that matter, like telephone is an example.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, there will be regulations which will tell what is right, what is wrong. Not right or wrong per se that okay, you should do this or you should do that, but they'll always tell what are the bounds within which you should operate.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
There's always a working bound, right? Like we have rules in schools, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's right.
You should not cross those rules.
You shouldn't.
Yes,
You
sir.
shouldn't, right?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, you'll have bad experiences. So, so anyway, it's like that. Okay, so that's how it is.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So thank you so much for
Right.
giving us some of your time, Mr. Ghosh. It was we really enjoyed having this conversation with you, and we learned a lot. So, sir, we just hope that our audience were inspired by your words just as much as we are. I'm pretty sure Anshul would agree. So, thank you so much for your time again,
Thank
sir.
you for having me, and thank you for all the good questions. And it's an opportunity for me to get connected to youngsters like you all. I really like enjoying talking to young people like you all. So I hope it's a valuable time which I've spent, and I hope it's the same with all of you.
We wouldn't,
Thank
yes,
you.
sir.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
sir.
sir.
Yeah.
Now, on a slightly different note, here's a segment called Science Right Now. In simple terms, what exactly is brewing in the cup of science? Extreme heat due from climate change distorts human behavior as temperatures rise, and violence and aggression also go up, while productivity and focus decline. Astronomers had discovered a new class of habitable planets which are covered with oceans and hydrogen-rich atmosphere. Scientists have identified a new species of four-legged whales that lived around 43 million years ago. The fossils were found in Egypt's western desert. Newly developed glue, inspired by barnacle cement, can seal bleeding tissues in 15 to 10 seconds, which is faster than the current surgical procedures.
So, what's the day today?
September 5th. Does that ring a bell?
We chose to release our first episode today because of the significance behind this very special day, Teachers' Day.
In India, today we celebrate Dr. S. Radhakrishnan's birthday, which is today, as a way to commemorate his dedication towards the country and his passion for teaching.
Dr. S. Radhakrishnan remained a teacher throughout his life while fulfilling his responsibilities as President of India. There is no better day to debut our podcast as a tribute to our teachers.
We have now come to the end of our podcast, and it's time to give our gratitude to the people who made this possible. We would like to thank our beloved head of school, Mrs. Rupa Sen, the head of academics, Dr. Azra, for spearheading this initiative, Colonel Asgar for the logistical support, Mr. Praveen and Mr. Mahendran, the BIS IT department, Mr. Joshua and his team, the science department, Ms. Balka and Ms. Priji, and Mr. Abu Bakr from the performing arts department for guiding us.
And now we would like to thank my fellow students. We would like to thank Arjun Karthik for being our mentor and for technical support. Then we would like to thank Temulin Temuji and Harini Shrikant for writing the script, Sumed Basin for composing the music, and Arya Gurjar for making the fantastic cover art we have. Everyone put in a lot of effort to make this happen, and we are truly very grateful for that.
With that, we conclude the first episode of our podcast. We were your hosts, Shivani Ramesh, Anshul Sumaya, Sara Mukundan, and Abhishek Rajan. Thank you so much for joining. Stay tuned for our next episode. Goodbye till then.